The year is 1665, and the city of London is a ticking time bomb. You don't know it yet, but the air you are breathing is thick with more than just the stench of the Thames and the sweat of 400,000 people. There is a shadow moving through the narrow, sunless alleys of St. Giles in the Fields, a shadow that has travelled across oceans and through centuries to claim this city. It began as a whisper in the winter, a few extra names on the bills of mortality, a few families vanishing from the slums. But now, as the hottest summer in living memory bakes the timber-framed houses into ovens, that whisper has become a scream. You are standing in the middle of the greatest catastrophe to ever hit the English capital, and there is nowhere to run. Listen to the silence. It is the first thing you notice. The constant roar of the carts, the shouting of the street hawkers, the bells of the churches, it's all fading. In its place is a heavy, suffocating dread. Every door you pass seems to have a story of agony behind it. Then you see it, a fresh, thick smear of red paint. A cross, a foot high, slashed onto a front door. Above it, the words "Lord have mercy upon us" are scrawled in a shaky hand. This isn't just a mark, it's a death sentence. Behind that door, an entire family is being buried alive. The law is absolute. If one person in a house shows a symptom, the watchmen bolt the door from the outside. The healthy are locked in with the dying. You can hear them thumping against the wood, begging for water, for air, or for a quick end. But the guards don't move. They are there to make sure the pestilence stays inside, even if it means every soul in that house is extinguished. You walk faster, pressing a vinegar-soaked rag to your nose because the smell is beginning to change. It's no longer just the smell of an overcrowded city, it's the sweet cloying scent of rotting flesh. People are walking in the middle of the street, avoiding the walls, avoiding each other. If you accidentally brush against a stranger's sleeve, they recoil as if you've pulled a knife. Eyes are bloodshot, faces are pale with terror. Everyone is looking for the tokens. You see a man collapse a few yards ahead. He doesn't cry out, he just falls. As people scramble away, you see his collar fall back. There they are, the god's tokens. Small, purple-black spots on the neck. They look like bruises, but they are the marks of the grave. Once those spots appear, you have hours, maybe minutes. The man's body begins to convulse, a final violent rejection of life, and then he is still. No one helps him, no one prays over him. He is just another tally for the clerk. The sun stays high, and the heat is relentless. The rich have already fled. You saw the carriages of the nobility, and the merchants choking the roads to the countryside weeks ago. King Charles II and his court have escaped to Oxford, leaving the poor to rot in the heat. But for those left behind, the city has become a prison. The neighbouring towns have set up armed blocks on the roads. If you are from London, you are treated like a monster. They will burn your clothes, they will stone you, they will let you starve in a ditch before they let you bring the gallows sickness into their clean air. You are trapped in a giant, sweltering cage of timber and brick. By midday, you see a figure that looks like something out of a nightmare. He wears a long black leather cloak that reaches his ankles and a mask with a terrifying bird-like beak. This is the plague doctor. He looks like a demon, but he is the only one brave or desperate enough to walk into the houses of the dying. Inside that beak he has stuffed dried roses, mint and spices to drown out the miasma. He carries a wooden cane so he can strip the bedsheets of the victims without touching them. But he has no cure. He might suggest you press a plucked chicken against your sores, or drink a concoction of crushed emeralds and gold. But he knows as well as you do that he is just a witness to the end of the world. As the sun begins to set, the horror shifts from the individual to the masses. The church bells begin to toll, a constant rhythmic death knell that never seems to stop. Every time a bell rings, another soul has left London. You pass by a parish graveyard, and the sight stops your heart. The ground is no longer flat, it is heaving. The graves are full. They are digging massive trenches now, great, gaping maws in the earth called plague pits. In the parish of Aldgate, they have dug a hole 40 feet long and 20 feet deep. They thought it would last for months. It will be full by the end of the week. Then comes the sound that defines 1665. The heavy creak of wooden wheels on cobblestones, the clanging of a handbell, and the cry that will haunt your dreams for the rest of your life. Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! The death carts are moving through the darkness. These aren't professional undertakers. They are the desperate, the criminals, and those who have already survived the plague and believe they are now immortal. They don't use coffins, they don't use shrouds, they simply throw the bodies onto the pile like sacks of grain. You see a woman run out of a house, clutching a small bundle wrapped in a tattered blanket. She tosses it onto the cart and collapses in the dirt, too exhausted to even scream. The cart moves on, the limbs of the dead jiggling with every bump in the road. Inside the houses, The suffering is beyond description. The disease doesn't just kill, it tortures. It starts with a shivering fit, then a burning fever that makes the victim feel like their blood is boiling. Then come the buboes, the hard, painful swellings in the groin, the neck and the armpits. They grow to the size of apples, turning red, then purple, then black. The pain is so intense that people throw themselves out of windows or run shrieking into the Thames just to feel the cold water for a second before they drown. Some families, in a fit of desperate mercy, will try to lance the buboes with hot irons, hoping to drain the poison. The screams from these treatments echo through the thin walls of the tenements, a symphony of agony that never ends. The city has turned on itself. In a fit of misguided panic, the Lord Mayor has ordered the slaughter of every cat and dog in London, believing they carry the seeds of the pestilence. You see the bodies of thousands of pets littering the gutters. It is the most fatal mistake in the history of the city. With the predators gone, the real killers, the black rats, multiply by the millions. They thrive in the filth of the open sewers, carrying the fleas that carry the bacteria. The more the people kill the cats, the faster the plague spreads. It is a cycle of death, fueled by ignorance and fear. By September, the death toll is 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 people a week. The economy has collapsed. The shops are boarded up. The grass is literally growing in the middle of the once busy streets of Cheapside. There is no money, no food, and no hope. People are walking the streets like ghosts, talking to themselves, praying to a god they feel has abandoned them. Some believe it is the end of the world, a divine punishment for the sins of a decadent nation. Others blame the foreigners, the witches, or the alignment of the stars. But the cause doesn't matter when you are staring into an open pit. When the first frost of winter finally arrives, the plague begins to retreat. The fleas die in the cold, and the bacteria goes dormant. The survivors emerge from their homes, blinking in the pale winter light. Looking at a city that has lost a quarter of its population, 100,000 people are gone. The air is finally clear, but the silence is heavier than ever. You think the nightmare is over, but as you look at the timber houses dry as tinder and packed together like kindling, you realize that London's ordeal has only just begun. The plague has broken the city's spirit, but in just a few months, a spark in a bakery on Pudding Lane will come to claim the city's body. 1665 was the year London died in its bed. 1666 will be the year it is cremated. This is the reality of the Great Plague. It wasn't a page in a history book. It was a sensory assault of heat, stench, and the sound of a bell that wouldn't stop ringing. It was a time when a simple red cross on a door was more terrifying than an invading army. It was a day when London became a city of shadows, and every breath was a gamble with the grave. As you walk away from the plague pits and the silent streets, remember the 100,000 who didn't get to walk away. Their names are lost, but the echoes of their cries still vibrate in the old stones of the city, a reminder of the year death was everywhere,